Mermaid Stratford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On June 9th, 10 parcels of land totaling approximately 500 acres were approved through orders in council. I found it interesting that each parcel had 3 rulings. One individual made an application to IRAC for all 10 parcels on January 9th. They were denied. A different individual made an application to IRAC for the same 10 parcels on February 20th. Again, denied on the same day that the previous individual was denied. A question to the Minister of Agriculture and Land: what was the reason for the applications to be denied?
Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Land.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Without knowing more details other than the amount of acreage, and I'll have to get back to her, on the member, on that, and to investigate a little further. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mermaid Stratford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I find the answer interesting because the Minister has always said he goes through each of the applications with a fine-tooth comb. So, Mr. Speaker, also on June 9th, an order in council approved the same 10 parcels to a corporation by the name of Hopetown Development Corporation Limited. A question to the Minister: who are the beneficial owners of this corporation?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Land.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And now that the name of the corporation is being brought up, yes, that was denied. It was denied because of the previous transaction, which was approved before our government. Probably our government time shouldn't have been approved, and they were trying to do a retroactive application, and we felt that it shouldn't have been approved the first time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So that's a confusing answer because this government denied 2 applications from those 10 parcels and then approved an application. So that's a little confusing for an answer. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the Minister confirmed, with the passing of the Beneficial Ownership Amendment to the Biz Corporation Act, that the corporate registry will revert back to the transparency that it used to have, but I've seen no changes to the information available to the public. To the same Minister, when will this actually happen?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Land.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, I like to we have nothing to hide over here in all our IRAC, although that stirs up controversy, I know, but we have nothing to hide. The beneficial ownership on the Business Corporation Act is planned for July, and I assume with COVID it will be on the same timeline. Thank you.
Mermaid Stratford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So it really has nothing to do with the Land Ownership Transparency Act. This actually has to do with the Business Corporations Act and beneficial ownership. And I will remind the Minister that beneficial ownership is very different from the directors of a company. And so reverting back to the original transparency that the previous government took away from islanders, this only provides director information, which doesn't necessarily reflect the beneficial ownership, which was important to this minister last November when they changed the act in the first place. So to the same Minister, when will you commit to adding beneficial ownership to the public registry, and in what time frame?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Land.
Mr. Speaker, July. Thank you.
The Honourable Member from Charlottetown Belleville